I'll talk to I swear a while ago, but I'll catch it after.
Kind of like that song, actually. So I was literally just handed this prayer. It's a prayer from an unknown Confederate soldier. I thought it was perfect. I asked God for strength that I might achieve. I was made weak that I might learn humbly to obey. I asked for health that I might do greater things. I was given infirmity that I might do better things. I asked for riches that I might be happy. I was given poverty that I might be wise. I asked for power that I might have the praise of men. I was given weakness that I might feel the need of God. I asked for all things that I might enjoy life. I was given life that I might enjoy all things. I got nothing that I asked for, but everything I had hoped for. Almost despite myself, my unspoken prayers were answered. I among all men am most richly blessed. Wow. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Okay, I know you're probably still munching, but we're going to go ahead and get this started on time this morning. So if you would, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance first. If everybody wants to stand, and then I have a young, able person that's going to lead us in the national anthem. So let everybody get their hats where they want them. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, well, I want to thank the next gentleman that's going to come forward with us. I'll introduce you to Dan Sauls. He has agreed. This was a last-minute thing, but he's going to lead us in the national anthem. So give him a round. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm used to doing this in a quartet and I do baritone, so I'm going to need your guys' help. Okay? All right. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Dan. Very much. Nice job.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to, everybody get situated here, and we're going to get ready for our main event, our main speaker here. For a lot of you probably already know this, but this gentleman has stepped forward here in the museum to become our executive director. His name is Sean Georges, and I'd like to introduce him now. He's going to lead you in our presentation today. Thank you.
I am a lucky man. I get to work with a group of volunteers that are just remarkable. And how could I say no to that opportunity? Thought I was retired, but not so fast. Back in it. Happy to be here, and I'm glad you guys are here. Honored to serve. I've already met some of you. We've got another World War II veteran here, maybe more. I apologize if I haven't met you today, but God bless everyone who's a constructive part of this community. And I think that's the story we tell here, something we really should be proud of. Amen. I thought I'd do something a little different. You're not going to hear much about technical things. So we're not going to be talking about airplanes. We're not going to be talking about some of the things which are very valuable things to discuss, but we're going to be talking about something that's at the center of certainly the United States Marine Corps and really all of the services, and that is leadership. So we're going to be talking about human beings. What I thought I would do is share a little bit with you about my journey to leadership. Thought it might be interesting. And there may be some things that for the veterans in the audience will sort of ring true. But this is about my discovery. You know, I've come to believe that leadership is a very personal thing. So I cannot teach you how to lead. You have to learn how to lead. So it's about who are we and how do we engage with the people around us. So what I'm going to share with you is what I've learned and kind of how I got there. So I thought you might appreciate this. We'll start with a story that probably many of you know. I can still picture him standing directly in front of me as I strained to maintain a strict position of attention in the hot sun. I can feel his eyes glaring at me with apparent disgust as he pointed out an obscure flaw with my uniform or commented on my lack of potential as a future officer. He was a first-class senior squad leader at Annapolis, and I was one of his freshman targets. He attempted to motivate us through fear and intimidation, and we frankly despised him in return. While his intent may have been to develop us as future leaders by being tough and demanding, he came across as unreasonably harsh. There was a level of disrespect in his voice and actions that seemed unjustified and extreme. He was creative in finding public ways to personally embarrass us and highlight our shortcomings. He was dismissive and volatile. New to the military experience, I remember thinking, if this is what passes for leadership in the military, then I'm not going to be able to lead. Fortunately, most upperclassmen around us showed us through the power of their own example and the level of their engagement with us that there was a more authentic way to lead. They took a higher road by building relationships that centered on responsibility and dignity, humility, respect. I'd quickly learned that there are positional leaders, people with titles, who lead through posturing and puffery and intimidation. And then there are these authentic leaders. The authentic leaders who lead by the power of their own example, and they lead with dignity. They bring out, somehow they inspired the best in me, and I found myself drawn and compelled to follow those people. And I wanted to be one of them. So that was plebe summer at the United States Naval Academy in 1979, and quite frankly, I was having a tough time, as many of us do when we go through basic training or a similar experience. It seemed that the harassment would never stop. So I got a chance in July, after a couple of weeks, I think they sent us down to where the phone banks were in Bancroft Hall at Annapolis. You've got 10 minutes, go. Kind of gave us a script on what we were supposed to say when we called home. And I tried to be stoic and, Mom, all is well, chow is great, morale is high, treating us well, getting plenty of sleep, a lot of exercise. I chose to come here. I love it here, is what I'm trying to say. Evidently, our mothers know us better than we even know ourselves. I was 18 years old, and I guess I let some of my feelings slip. But Mom sat down. This is all about leadership. So another act of leadership that was unexpected and remarkable. My mother sat down and drafted a one-page letter. And I thought I would share it with you because it changed the direction of my life. In every so-called, this is what she wrote, in every so-called primitive society since man became sapient, there's been a period of time during which its young people were subjected to extreme hardship and stress before they could be accepted as an adult. It taught them to expand the limits of themselves. Our culture is sadly deficient in this respect, and there's no clear-cut step from childhood to adulthood. She wrote, "Freedom is misunderstood. Freedom is operating at your greatest capacity. It is pushing the limits imposed by self-doubt or even by outside doubt back. It is the process of reaching for your potential, which is never finished and ends in this dimension only with physical death. Freedom is never conferred by someone else or taken away by someone else. It exists in the operation of your personality." She finished by saying, "Someone said that a man must participate in the time in which he lives. Blind loyalty is suspect. Dedication to the future is a hallmark of greatness. We are all links in a chain which stretches from the fear-filled nights of huddled man-apes to who knows what. The strength of our personal link will determine it. The future is shaping in each of us." She said, "So much depends on you, so much depends on each of us. Some will turn aside. You have the choice to do that too, but I think that you will not. I think you will continue to push back obstacles. I think you will learn to become master of yourself." Wow. I received that letter, lifted my head up, never turned back. I was committed. Why do I share this letter for you? Because I think sometimes we think about leadership in terms of what happens at work. And we think about title, and we think about rank, and we think about making people do things. Leadership is something that can operate and does operate in all aspects of our life. That's part of the authenticity in leadership. So this act, this loving act from my mother, which she didn't say, grow up, grow a backbone, come on home, honey, right? Oh, are they being mean to you, right? She said, listen, here's what's going on. You've got some choices. Here's some perspective. I think you'll make this choice. Brilliant. Beautiful, amazing act of leadership. And that was kind of one of those beginning points in my education as a leader. I thought I'd share a few things with you about what I learned along the way, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Got to hit the on button. One of the things I learned along the way and shaped greatly by becoming a Marine and the Marine Corps way of leadership. You probably heard this term, servant leadership. It's kind of a weird thing. What, servant leadership? Wait a minute. Yeah. It's basically turning it upside down. The model, the concept of authentic leadership is about us. And you listen, I'm telling you nothing you don't know, but I'm telling you how at least the Marine Corps operates and why. It's you serving your Marines, a sacred responsibility to serve your Marines in the direction of a shared mission. Is it just me, or is it? That's pretty amazing. Roger that. Thanks. Got some stage managers back there. Right. This was in August of 2023, so well after I was out. The current Commandant of the Marine Corps came out with his first policy letter. This is how important leadership is in the Marine Corps. Servant leadership is Marine leadership, a tradition given us by Marines of every rank and generation. Leaders eat last. Leaders eat last. My education began at the basic school, Quantico, Virginia. So after 4 years at Annapolis, thought I had accomplished something, had gold bar, butter bar, Marine second lieutenant, going to go and spend 6 months in Quantico running around the woods and learning how to lead Marines. And kind of thought, gosh, if I haven't figured leadership out from Annapolis, after 4 years of some of the best military education you can, thank you taxpayers. They say it's a $500,000 education crammed down your throat a nickel at a time. So thank you very much. What else is there to know? Oh yeah, a lot. Leaders eat last. Kept hearing this phrase bouncing around every time you went somewhere. Leaders eat last. Let's go. You're running and trying to figure out how to operate and how to engage as a Marine officer and take care of your Marines first. The priorities were pretty darn clear. What I figured out quickly in the Marine Corps is that if you do not figure out who you are as a leader and how to lead, it doesn't matter how well you can fly a jet aircraft, how straight you shoot, how many push-ups you can do. I ended up being a judge advocate after my first tour of the Marines, and how good you were in the courtroom. It was about taking care of your Marines and your capability as a leader, your authenticity as a leader. I sometimes throw this picture up to talk about leadership because we often think in terms of a single leader. Who is the leader? So here's a picture of some Marines running down a road. Happens to be Jacksonville, North Carolina. Anybody who's been out there? Hoorah. And I sort of ask, and I'll ask you, who is the leader in this picture? Some people think, well, it's got to be the guy on the far right. I mean, look at that Marine. Great haircut. It's a nice, he's fit. He's out there. He's probably, calling cadence, and the entire rest of this group is just keeping pace with the cadence. So he's probably the leader. No, wait a minute. I mean, look at the guy on the front left. Are you kidding me? That's Gunnery Sergeant Capper, by the way. His arms are bigger than my legs, just perfect. And he's got the guide on, and so, they're all keeping pace with the guide on, and so yeah, he's probably the leader, and everybody else is following. Well, wait a minute. There's this guy in the middle. That's actually me, and that was another lifetime ago. I was the officer, so commissioned officer, senior person by rank. In the center, maybe I'm the leader. Here's the punchline. All of us were leading and following, being good teammates. Somebody needed encouragement or they needed a power of example, we would provide it by the way we operated. That group of recon Marines, we had to get ready that morning and get geared up. This actually happened to be this wasn't a real evolution, it was for this recruiting poster, and so, people were kind of like, whatever, I'd rather be doing something real. But we were running up and down that road for about half a day, I think, until I got the right picture. So who was the leader? That's the wrong question. Teams that operate at their highest level share the leadership responsibility. Motivation is happening within. They're challenging one another, setting the example for one another. Somebody falls, they're going to pick them up. If I fell flat on my face, somebody would step up. Somebody else would pick up my lifeless body and, at least take it off the road and come back later, get me. Though that's what teams do. And leadership operates within that kind of an environment. So, sacred responsibility to take care of your people first. It's not about you. It's about them in the direction of a shared mission. And so, Marines are simple creatures, and simplicity is great. That's why leaders eat last just really resonates. Because in any particular situation, you'll know what to do. And I'll give you the question. One question you have to ask yourself, or at least that I have found to be the perfect question. Because, leadership, our ability to influence another person, comes from who we are and ultimately what we do, how we act and engage and behave. It serves to influence others in their level of commitment and action, in alignment with mission. This isn't just walking around saying, hey, I'm the leader here, and how do you like me so far? And right? Where are we going? In what way are you trying to influence us? In what direction? Well, in the direction of our shared mission. And it's not about trying to be popular. It's a mission focus, right? But it's just one of those human things. There's no way to escape the fact that we are social beings at our core. Some people are more social than others. And that's fine, right? There's a whole range. But we join together when we are at our best as a community, and this museum is a great example of a community that pulled together to accomplish a singular mission and to support a global war. Absolutely pull together and align and serve one another. Leadership at every level and service to one another. So in any event, we came up with this definition, my buddy and I. He's a retired lieutenant colonel in the Marine Corps, Force Recon guy. He's the one you want to have when it goes south. So he's on my speed dial. So we wrote this book over the course of 10 years. We both had day jobs, but it's hard to write fast when you're using crayons. So it took us a while. I had too much laughter here from the Navy, Marines and crayons. And we challenged ourselves. I'm a visual guy, so what does leadership look like? And what we came up with was sort of a back of the napkin. We don't always have to be the leader, but when we are leading, when that leadership moment, that opportunity comes up, this is what's happening in my mind's eye. I'm at the bottom. I'm the littlest figure, and apologize for the artwork, littlest figure in this picture. It's not about me. I'm at the bottom. The green arrows really should have arrows on both sides, two-way arrows. I am in relationship with my teammates that bring all of these skills and experiences and capabilities together, right? So I'm building a relationship, two-way relationship with them as we drive this red arrow, which is what? This combined effort in the direction of a shared mission. When I am leading, I always have to be the leader. I mean, in the next moment, I might be a teammate and somebody else is leading, and I'm trying to be a good teammate. We're driving in the direction of mission. That is it. That is it. It's not me at the top. We've all seen org charts, right? So I used to be in corporate America. I was Shoe Carnival's general counsel, head of HR. And so we've got 6,000 people out there and 400 stores in 35 states. And yeah, let's do some leading. Okay, well, I'm at the top of the org chart. I'm a senior executive vice president near the top. There are a few people above me, and I'm looking down below, and I'm going to start issuing orders, and that's how I'm going to lead 6,000 people. Are you kidding me? Of right? What do you get from orders that are issued in that way? You may get mere compliance. If you want commitment, if you want leadership across the team, you've got to lead in a different way. And I'll tell you what so that's the perspective. That is the position of power. It's not you at the top. It's you at the bottom in this relationship. Here's another thing I noticed across my life at Annapolis, in the civilian world, in the Marine Corps. I noticed that the authentic leaders didn't sort of put on the Superman cloak and, walk in, okay, now I'm leading, and they were a different person than they were they were the same person in every room they entered. Hence, authenticity. They weren't pretending or sort of playing a role, right? It was like you knew that person at the grocery store, and then there they are before the board of directors of a publicly traded company, and it's the same. I love that. They didn't have to pretend and posture because they led from a place of humility. And C.S. Lewis had the best definition of humility, or description. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. When you're leading as a servant, you can bring your gifts. There are a lot of talented people. We pulled one out of the crowd this morning to help us with it. Thank you, appreciate it. Help us with the singing. Bring your gifts. Bring them all. God-given, self-developed, whatever. Bring your gifts. But it is about your focus is not on, hey, how am I looking? How do you like me so far? Kind of a thing, right? It's you're focused on my energy, attention, and effort is on my teammates in line with mission. Does that make sense? You're asking yourself a single question. So back of the napkin, single question. Look long. These are the key parts right here. What's my best and highest role in any situation? Could be a one-on-one. Could be there's a problem or an issue that needs to be solved. What is my best and highest role to serve my teammates in the direction of our shared mission? That's the question. Now, yeah, but Sean, what are the answers? Can you give me a decision tree? Do you have the workbook is, right? Our kids don't come with instructions. We have to figure it out. Do the best you can. From that place, how can I serve this person in the direction of our shared goal, our shared mission? What can I bring? Or there's some unique thing. Maybe I've got experience. Maybe they need to hear a story. Maybe they need me to get out of the way. What do you guys need from me? Sean, it'd be so nice if you were like over there. Roger that. I think you're right. I'll be over there. Right. Humility. What is your best and highest role? What's a great source for an answer? You've got, whether it's your son or daughter or husband, significant other, wife, teammate at work. Do we always have to know the answer? What's my best and highest role? What's a good way to find out how we can best serve the person in front of us? I've got an idea. Yeah, ask them. Yeah, you might have to might have to let them go. Let them know what you're doing. Let them know that you're there to serve. Ask them, what do you need from me? Maybe they just need you to listen. Maybe they need more information. Maybe they need a bigger budget. Maybe they need more people. Maybe they need more resources. But that is your question. What's my best and highest role from a position of, which is a strong, stable position? When I'm leading as a servant, man, you can try to knock me over. You want me to get that? But it's a pretty stable position. Chest is up, head's back, and I'm right? I can breathe well. It's a healthy place. I'm not looking in the mirror. I'm not looking down. I am up and I'm agile. I'm ready to move. What do they need so that we can accomplish our mission? That is a position of power. You're asking a single question. Because here's the reality. One of the things I figured out over the course of time, even though I have a commission from the President of the United States that everyone of subordinate rank must follow all lawful orders of mine, so I could walk around like just issuing orders. Right? Why? Because I told you, just do it. I outrank you. I could be that guy. That's not leadership. Leadership is engaging at another level. Leadership is engaging at a human level. Because who gets to decide if they're going to follow you anywhere? Even to the bathroom. It's not you. It's not about your title. If you want to influence another human being, they decide. Who decides if you're going to lead? And we've seen that with our children, right? Yeah, made some choices that maybe I wouldn't have made, right? Wish you wouldn't have done that. Told you not to do that, or told you to do that. They get to decide, though, if they're going to follow. So we have to, through our relationship, our commitment, our example, authenticity, relationship, we get to help build that level. I mean, people will at least start to become curious. Wow. Just like I'm sure I've been here about a month. I would bet you that people look at, I would imagine at this early stage, they may be giving me the benefit of the doubt, and I appreciate that. Honeymoons are nice. But I bet they're at least a little bit curious. Is this guy real? Is he for real? Is he really about this thing? So when we're leading, yeah, pressure's on. People are watching, right? We've all had this experience. Remember at Annapolis, I was a senior and I was the ranking member. We had watch standers. It was a weekend event. Nobody wanted to be standing watch on a weekend at the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. You want to be over the wall, outside, among the civilians, right? Had to do it, so I have to go through and inspect the watch standards, right? So you're coming through and in front of me, midshipmen, I'm inspecting their cover, the cap, I'm looking down, shoes all the way up, checking morale, right? And then you move to the next one. And well, what do you think they're doing when I am inspecting them? What are they doing with me? Absolutely. They are inspecting me back, right? And I remember this one young man, he was a plebe, he was a freshman, and I came up in front of him and we were wearing the same cover. There's this thing on the side of the covers that we wore, the caps, they have the bill that comes out, and there are two posts on the side and they have an eagle on them. If you don't seat them perfectly, and then the gold strap comes across the front, if you don't seat them perfectly, the eagle, which when it's seated perfectly is flying, right, it's parallel to the ground. When it's not seated perfectly, it looks like that. We call it the dreaded drunken eagle. Oh, it's a horrible thing to have. So I thought I had myself squared away, and I remember coming up in front of this one midshipman, and I'm greeting him and start looking down his uniform, and I'm looking at the side of his cover to see how his posts are looking. Guess what he's doing? He's looking at mine. And I said, you've got a drunken eagle on your port side. And he looked at me and he said, sir, you have a drunken eagle on your port side. And I said, good attention to detail. Why don't we both square these away right now? Right? And so we both took off our covers, squared it away, put it back on, good to go. I moved on. I thought, first of all, I could have been offended. Said, who are you to... But that's how leadership works. People are watching. They're watching how you engage. Are you real? Are you authentic? Right? If you are, we may go or try to be like you're asking us to be. We may join this team. We may commit to this mission. It's powerful, but you can't fake it, right? And here's the other thing I have learned across time in the Marine Corps and civilian world. It's not a title, it's not a position. Lead is a verb, right? So, you know, you may have a title of leader, you may say you're a leader. Are you doing leader things? Are you acting like a leader? Are you leading? Right? Where are we going? Are we advancing towards mission? Lead is a verb. Because we often forget, and no offense, I'm in the civilian world. I was a civilian before I went into the Marines, and I guess I'm a civilian again. But we get this mixed up. And I think it's super important to keep it clear. We have a lot of things to manage. I mean, look around. Look at all this stuff. Wow. We've got to manage, you know, tables and chairs, and food had to come in, and we've got t-shirts over there, and a couple of airplanes. Wow. You know, holy cow. A lot of stuff to manage. We can move them around. We can bring them out and look at them. We can fly them. There's, right, a lot of budgets, all the things, right? But one of the mistakes we make is that we try to manage human beings. Okay, well, I'm going to manage you in this way. In order to achieve the strategic goal, I will give you the following KPIs and OQRs, and anybody know what those mean? Yeah, I don't either. But I can tell you this, I will not jump on a hand grenade for a KPI, but I will do it for another human being. Whole different ballgame. When authentic leadership gets us to true commitment, and that gets us to the highest that people can bring to the table. I mean, how much would you pay another human being for the likelihood that they're going to take a round for a particular, I don't know, what would the price be? What's the market on a life? We have young Marines and sailors and soldiers and that go and do that. They sign up, and we don't pay them much. Right? Now you can get to the deep stuff. You can get to the potential of other human beings. You can get to their best stuff. And as a team, you can do remarkable things. But we try to manage people like cattle, and you'll get maybe mere compliance. And I think this is why. I have observed that unless you're willing to engage the heart, unless you're willing, and you don't have to be all fluffy about it and walk around patting people in the head, love you, man, you don't have to be that guy, you know, love you. And HR is going to have a problem with you, right? You know, HR purpose. But what love are we talking about? You've got to be willing, if you truly want to influence another person. And you can be demanding, you're going to have high standards. My dad did. My high school football coach used to grab my mask and get my attention. I'm listening, coach. But I knew he cared about me. I knew he wanted me to be better. I knew, both my father, coach, other leaders, they knew I had potential. They wanted me to reach deep inside, bring it out, right? They cared about me as a human being. They tried to develop my potential. Love. You don't have to talk about it. Marines, if all you have to do is get them to a quiet place, ask them about those that they served with. You will begin to see tears form. There is love among that connection, and that's the only way, not in a manipulative way, but that's how you've got authentic leadership requires us to engage in a very human way, but in a deeper way. Even if you've got to do tough stuff, say you've got to terminate someone's employment, you know, love them through that. Do it in a caring way. As a servant leader, direction of mission, get them onto that next mission. But if you start ripping off heads and defaming people, and you've lost the leadership. So let me tell you a quick story about this young lady. Some of you may be aware of this story, but this was Peyton. She was 16 years old, and she got up one morning and got in the family car and went to cheer practice. Practice was at a local high school only a few miles from where she lived, and she came up to an intersection. According to witnesses at the scene, she came to a full stop, but it was a fully loaded coal truck, 18-wheeler, just, I don't know how much those weigh. But the picture actually doesn't quite tell the story, because the vehicle that she was driving, the family car, is about maybe a foot and a half, maybe 2 feet wide in the center. License plate of the truck is now pressing past the center console. Peyton was crushed against the right side of the vehicle, neck broken at C1, jaw broken, ribs shattered, hips shattered, left leg broken, traumatic brain injury. Her life was slipping away. But then the first responders arrived. Kind of a group made up of some different organizations. There were the volunteer firefighters. There was a female police officer from the local town. There was a sheriff's deputy who was about to go off duty that day. Just formed up, responded to the scene, and started to get to work on what seemed like an impossible situation. But they had the right training, they had the right equipment, they knew how to work together as a team, and they also realized that it would take far too long to get the door off with the jaws of life, so they found a way to secure her. You could tell she had a broken neck, so they secured her by going above the vehicle and untying her shoes, which were trapped on the driver's side. They were able to break the back window, secure her, extract her, called off the life flight helicopter, took her to the local hospital, and she was set up for an 8-hour surgery where they were going to have to connect her occipital through C3, 2 titanium rods and 6 screws, and it was all going to be iffy. They talked to the parents and told them that, listen, if she survives, we don't know what we're going to have on the other end. She was flown to Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and by this life flight crew, 8.5-hour surgery. Peyton's my daughter, and this is her now. Sorry. Why do I tell you this story? Because she had to learn how to walk again, how to swallow, how to talk, she had to get through some things in her head. There were just her lungs healed, her bones healed. She's now a buyer at Lids in Indianapolis. But during her 2-year recovery, by the way, never missed a football game cheering. That girl was in a wheelchair with a cervical collar on the field at Castle High School within months. Teachers came and helped to educate her, keep her up with school. Just a team effort, team after team after team. And I kept coming back to these first responders. How had they accomplished? How do you deal with that thing? Well, I met every single one of them. First gave them a huge hug, and now when they see me coming, because I still see these guys around, they kind of duck, because here he comes, in for another hug. What did I see? The same things I saw in the Marine Corps. I saw a clear mission focus. When they got the call, showed up at the scene, they weren't there to check the traffic or, hey, I wonder how You know, I wonder how the traffic lights are working here, or gosh, I've never been to this part of town, or I wonder what restaurants are nearby. They were mission focused. They knew why they were there, quickly sized up the situation. They knew they had an opportunity to save this girl's life, and that was their mission. Shared leadership. Think about the people that were not there at the scene. Let's see, CEO of St. Mary's Hospital was not there. Chief surgeon wasn't there. The police chief wasn't there. The fire chief was not there. All of these like title leaders, yeah, they were all doing something else. I'm not being mean to them. Who was there, right? Was anybody standing around waiting for orders? No one was, right? Leadership, let's go, let's lead, follow, serve one another. That was happening. They weren't waiting for orders. Leadership can happen at every level. They moved as a team. It wasn't, hey, watch me, look at how I can do this. It wasn't about them. In fact, for me to find these guys, men and women, and to recognize them, find ways to recognize them was hard because they didn't want to like, hey, yeah, I was there. So humble. And this is something really important. When I interviewed them, it was kind of hard, right? You're talking to these people who had your daughter's body in their arms. I said, what'd you think when you got to the scene? They said, first of all, where's the driver? Because she looked like the passenger. Where's the driver? What happened to the driver? And then they realized she's the driver. And then they said, she's not going to make it to extract from the vehicle, let alone into the ambulance, let alone to Evansville, let alone to whatever happens. No way. But here's the thing, audacity of belief. Despite all the evidence to the contrary, they moved and operated as if and as though she was going to survive. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy. And you see that with the best of teams, right? I mean, Navy SEALs have a saying, give us 1 millimeter of opportunity. Give us one tiny, little, infinitely small chance to make something happen. That's all we need. Boom, we're going in, right? We can give us a problem that is so thorny and so difficult, but if their audacity of belief, every single one to a person, she's not going to make it. I've seen a lot of these. This young lady is not going to make it. But it was a self-fulfilling prophecy because they operated as if and as though they would be successful, and that was a part of what led to great decision-making and professionalism, and finally, a sense of service to one another. So when I say that I believe small unit, authentic leadership saved my daughter's life, I truly mean it. I'm gonna end with this because I think my time is about up. So I think this was like day 2 or 3. I'm upstairs and kind of trying to figure out where the water fountain is and talking to McKay and trying to understand how things roll around here, and Stephanie and some of the others. And so I go into this room where we have a collection of things that have just come in recently, and there's there on the table is a Silver Star medal. You know what that is? That's pretty impressive. Heroism in combat at a high level. Next to it is a Bronze Star. Awesome. Both from the same gentleman, World War II. Then they were laying on top of this letter. And it looked like it was clearly an old copy of a letter. And I just looked at it. The letter was dated 9 May, 1945. It was signed, but it was from 3rd Army headquarters. At the bottom wasn't a pen signature, but was a type signature, a name you might recognize, General George S. Patton Jr. And It was a single page letter, so written at the end of the, at least victory in Europe, I think had been announced, so end of the European campaign. And I read this letter and I thought it was remarkable. I had never seen it before. But here's how he finished the letter. Usually when you think of Patton, you think of, well, it's kind of all about him, and he was flashy, and he was, or whatever you think about him from the movies or otherwise. But think about the leadership here. The letter was addressed to soldiers of the 3rd Army, past and present, dated 9 May 1945. Here's how he finished it. During the course of this war, I have received promotions and decorations far above and beyond my individual merit. You won them. I, as your representative, wear them. And then he finished with this. The one honor which is mine and mine alone is that of having commanded such an incomparable group of Americans, the record of whose fortitude, audacity, and valor will endure as long as history lasts. Wow. Leadership is personal. And I hope I've shared a little bit about you. By the way, this last, as long as history lasts line is what we are here. We are here to make sure that the experience and the lessons of history will last so that we can continue to build on them and shape our culture in this country. So, I thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Sean, stay up here. Don't leave yet. We got to say a couple more words here. I think this gentleman just gave persona of what leadership's about. There's no doubt in my mind that his heart is in this, and we're glad to have you here. I'm glad that you had the opportunity to share your thoughts with everybody today to get to know you better. This is an opportune time. Nobody plugged me to do this, but since he's standing here, I want to share with each of you that this group that's bringing this to you today is one of the best groups I've ever worked with. I can say that. And I want to put a plug in. If you know anyone or if you yourself feel like you would like to be part of this mission here at this museum, please come and see this guy, okay? His heart's in it, and I'm sure he'd be glad to get a direction for you, and we could use your help. Thank you very much.
Awesome.